Good morning and welcome to Funky Rainbow. This woof woof or a bow wow kind of Saturday morning. I know there was an unexpected break between when we started season 4 of the Bazaar and this episode that we're doing today on puppy love. Um, the entire team was, one by one, everybody came down with COVID, and things, everybody was out of action for a bit, but we're back. And what a lovely theme to present to all of you who are watching us this morning. I can see some friends up on Facebook and on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us. I can see Arunji here. Good morning. And you say that you absolutely enjoyed reading The Book of Dog, edited by Himali Sodi. Indeed, what a wonderful collection of doggy tales in that one, really, Arun. And I can see that you're commenting on the Parag honor list books as well. We are going to do a bazaar on the Parag list, the Parag honor books shortly, in conversation with the lovely folks at the Tata Trust to set that up soon enough. But it's just wonderful that so many of you are keeping abreast of what's happening in the Indian children's literature space. And I just utterly absolutely love it when many people write into us to say that these things are going on, and if we can bring them into focus in our bazaar, it just feels absolutely lovely. To my friends on Instagram who've joined, wonderful, wonderful morning to all of you. A woof woof kind of morning. And we thought, with Valentine's Day coming up next week, and with love in the air, just thought the best way to celebrate would be to celebrate puppy love. And we have absolutely just interpreted it as that warm and lovely bond that so many human beings have with their furry friends. I mean, it's just unbelievable. In fact, in our own office, I mean, both my partners at Funky Rainbow, such huge dog lovers, that I'm wondering how we came to this theme 2 years after we started the bazaar. But it took Valentine's Day to remind us that puppy love is probably just the best kind of love. And I can see Muttama joining us. She's not keeping really well. And I think, like, the biggest dog lover in my life must certainly be my partner, Muttama, and my partner, Sham. So the thing is, really, indeed, the best kind of love. And I know if she was well, we would have some doggy company at Funky Rainbow for sure today. I have to say, though, that books and dogs and that kind of love. I mean, there are such wonderful books that exist in the space, and I can see, Arun has referred to one of them, which is a book for anyone who loves dogs. I mean, we'd say all adults, The Book of Dog. Similarly, one of the earliest books on with a dog as a protagonist that I remember reading, and I think I may have been 9 or 10 possibly at that point in time, was just this fascinating book called The Call of the Wild by Jack London. I mean, we grew up reading a whole lot of British classics, and this book about Buck and the voyage and the journey that he undertakes in the cold Alaskan climes. I mean, that book, I absolutely remember. I mean, this book, I absolutely remember, just touched the deepest chords in my heart, simply because of what a loyal friend Buck was. I mean, he was ready to do whatever had to be done against the odds, against the inclement weather, to help his master find gold. This was during the gold rush in the Klondike Valley. And I really, the descriptions that Jack London, has written of Buck pulling that sledge with all the for all the treasure that people are trying to find. It's just an incredible book, and I think my real love story with dogs would have begun at that age, maybe 9 or 10. I must have been with this wonderful book by Jack London called The Call of the Wild. Yeah, and Sham reminds me, and it's just incredible. His son is, is 12, and maybe 2 years ago, just of his own volition from the school library, he picked up a book and he came quite excitedly to tell us at the office that I have this book and I'm just really looking forward to reading it. And you know what? It was just The Call of the Wild. And after he read it, I think he's told every one of us many, many times that it's one of my favorite books as well. And I think, gosh, sometimes some things, how cyclical they are, how very lovely that, school libraries have copies of this book. Of Call of the Wild. Oh, okay. Sham tells me that there's a movie that's going to be out with Harrison Ford playing the lead role in the Call of the Wild. And I'd really love to see which doggy plays Buck, because my God, what an incredible, sinewy and exciting dog he is, really. And, bringing out like the best kind of feelings in readers. I can see Arun, saying that Hachiko, the story of Hachiko is something that his students loved considerably. So obviously, everybody has a beautiful dog story to share, a dog book that they've read that's really touched them so deeply that it's a book that they revisit over and over again. And even though we focus almost entirely on Indian children's books, I couldn't help but source The Call of the Wild at Funky Rainbow simply because it was a favorite. But otherwise, the recommendations this morning are for, a whole bunch of books, mostly Indian children's books and one or two lovely Western books as well, on the theme of puppy love. Just interesting dog companions in book, dog characters in books. And I'm going to get started with a bunch of recommendations. I know many of you are viewers who've seen us and watched us across the years. I mean, it's just feels so lovely to say that. I mean, it's almost 2 years of the Buzzaar, and I know there are many of you who have watched us across those 2 years. But for those of you who are watching us new, I wanted to say all these books that we're recommending, and we can recommend just a small smattering of them. They're all up on our website, www.funkyrainbow.com. Click on the tab that says Book Buzzaar. There'll be a drop-down menu, season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4. Click on season 4, and there'll be a link that says Puppy Love. And you're going to find a whole bunch of books. There are probably 50, 60 books up there, and we're going to be able to probably just recommend a small smattering of them to you. Good morning, Preeti Ramchandran and Gohan. What a pleasure to see you at the Buzzaar. You say 101 Dalmatians is Gohan's favorite dog book. I can well imagine. I've watched the film with my nephews, and really those Dalmatians are completely adorable. I'm so glad that he's read the book and perhaps watched the movie as well. It is, like I said, anyone, any age. You can be, like a newborn child. You can be like 100-year-old grandparent. You're going to have a favorite dog book for sure. So I'm going to start off with a clutch of recommendations, and one of my favorite books at Funky Rainbow is this lovely one from Tulika called A Walk with Tambi. Tambi ke saath sair. We have the Hindi version, at the moment, and showing this to you. It's such a beautiful book by Lavanya Karthik, and I can see Muttama saying Dalmatians are the best. Yay, Zui. Muttama has many dogs, has had many dogs in her life, and Zui, whom we lost recently, was a wonderful, warm, affectionate, and loving Dalmatian, so dignified. I mean, I've seen so many Dalmatians with different friends, and they're scampery, and they'll, like, come right next to you and want to eat what you have on your table. But that was a dog. Zooey had so much class, so much elegance, so much dignity. She was really quite something else. And I hope, dog heaven up above is treating her really well. So, Sigohan, somebody else loving Dalmatians as well. But to come back to this excellent recommendation, I mean, the book by a story by Lavanya Karthik, and the glorious luminous illustrations by Proiti Roy. I mean, it begins so well. It begins with a doggy telling us that he's headed out on a walk with Tambi. And what do they do on this walk? I mean, all kinds of things, often things that their parents say, please don't do, And I just love the way the story progresses. Look at how it's set just right in the midst of everyday life. Now, do you think it's just the story of a little boy, and his dog going on a walk? As the story progresses, and you can see, I just love the way both Lavanya Karthik and Proiti Roy have brought alive everyday life around us as, the doggy and Tambi set out on a walk. Is it just a story of a boy and his dog going on a walk? Maybe, just maybe, something on the cover will give you an idea that it's a lot more than that. I just love the doggy in the book. I just love the way, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite spreads in the book. I just love it. I mean, what could be more beautiful than this world? There's a little boy and his dog watching, a boat float by. My gosh, just perfect paradise, really. You have to read this wonderful book, which we'd recommend for 4+ year olds, and to find out what the story of a little boy and his dog is all about. In a similar vein, and we just love it, kids and and their pets, is this lovely little book that came to us from Pratham not so long ago. It's called A Dog Called Shu, written by Kavita Punyamurthy and illustrated by Sarthak Sinha. The premise of the book, and I'm sure there are many of you who will, be nodding your heads when what the story is all about. It's about a little dog. It's a little brown dog, and what happens whenever anyone sees the dog up here, there, or everywhere, the only thing that they say is shoo. Just go away. So somebody says, shoo, don't come near me. Somebody else says, shoo, that's a stray dog, beta. Don't touch the stray dog. Somebody else says, shoo. So much so that this little brown dog actually thinks her name is Shoo. And, I love the sensitivity with which Kavita tells the story. Shoo at one point lived in a house with a little boy, with a family, and they were always making demands of her. They were like, bring me that stick, oh, show me a trick, oh, stand up on your legs. And, she just didn't know how to perform any tricks. Now, what happens one fine day, the family, and I've, seen so many of these, and I'm sure many of you have as well. They that family gets bored with Shoo, and they just leave Shoo near the bus stop and go away. What happens? Huh? Okay, Sham's telling me don't give away the whole story. What happens to Shoo? You've just got to read this wonderful book, or more, something that's really exciting to read. Along with reading the book, is to hear Grace Stroke tell the story just in a little while from now. So, A Dog Called Shu, and we can see a wonderful friend, big dog lover, joining us at the show this morning, Ramendra Kumar. First off, a big clap goes out to Ramendra Kumar, who's a wonderful supporter of Funky Rainbow, a man who absolutely is, a laugh a minute person every time he visits. We do know that Raman would have joined us at the bazaar, but he's not feeling too well at the moment. And we know that he's going to be back laughing and on his feet and dancing very, very soon. And we hope, Raman, to be having you at a bazaar with us so soon. A big thanks and a big hug going out to you for joining us despite not feeling well. But that's what puppy love and that's what dog love can really do, isn't it? It's You say it's this is such a lovely and endearing story. It indeed is. We would recommend it for 4+ year olds or 5+ year olds. It's a lovely, lovely story of a little dog called Shu. And then I'm going to just say Shu so that Grace Stroke can actually tell the story later. The next recommendation this morning is from a very popular publisher on our shelves, Pickle Yolk Books, and I just love Duster by Richa Jha, written by Richa Jha and illustrated by Neeti Banerjee. It's such a cute story about Duster the dog. And you know what? Every single page that you turn, you have to wonder whether Duster the dog was really a cat or was he a dog? I mean, it's just utterly delightful the way the story has been illustrated and written. Duster, who liked the couch, who liked the cupboard, who liked the chandelier, and not quite all the doggy things that you'd imagine Duster would do. So, what is Duster? Is he a dog or is he a cat? And the thing is, dogs have their own, personalities. So, what did Duster not like to do? Well, he didn't like to fetch anything. He didn't like to announce the arrival of anybody at the door. He certainly didn't like to dig for bones. Ah, I just love the layers and the nuances in the story that Richa has written, because what is this question about identity? Does a dog have to be like a dog? Does a cat really have to be like a cat? I mean, that's the subtle undertone of the story. But Duster the dog, or maybe not a dog, maybe a cat, maybe not. It's such a lovely way to introduce this concept of identities to young readers. And, Richa's text and Neeti Banerjee's illustrations absolutely bringing alive a lovely story about Duster the dog, who was perhaps really a cat. You've got to pick this one up and read it. You can see how little text there is on the pages. So, absolutely works for our youngest readers. But I can tell you this much, that the oldest readers as well, very much likely to enjoy this picture book, published by Pickle Yolk and priced at 350 rupees. We have, fortunately at Funky Rainbow, lots of dog loving friends and lots of dog loving writers, much like Ramendra Kumar. In fact, while we are at it, I do want to say that we have Ramen's book as well, which I should, because called The Canine Chronicles. And, he wrote this during COVID, to say that how much comfort, how much love, how much happiness a dog brings to our families. I mean, really how much better, do our lives become with a dog in our midst. So the Canine Chronicles, published by Blue Pencil, love and laughter in the times of Corona, possible. And there's Raman's wonderful humor just sparkles through these pages. So what I was coming to say is that lovely, lovely friends who love dogs and who've written lovely dog books as well. And in exactly one of the writers whose books we wanted to recommend next is this wonderful writer of picture books and chapter books called Nalini Sorensen. What a charming set of chapter books she has done featuring Lucky the dog. I mean, Lucky got so popular, Lucky was so loved that, there are 3 books in the series: Lucky It's Summer, perfect time to pick it up and keep it with you, because summer is coming up and has probably already come up in a couple of places. There's Lucky It's Diwali, and there's Lucky It's Not Just a Christmas Story. Now, the thing with these books, they are lovely chapter books. We'd recommend them for 6+ year olds. What we really like about the format of these books is that the illustrations, and the books have been illustrated by the wonderfully talented Shamika Chaves. The illustrations are black and white, so children can actually color them in as they're reading the story, or even after they have done it. And Nalini, interestingly, the format that she adopts is that the stories, all three books, told in the voice of Lucky. So it's Lucky who's narrating this set of story. I mean, these stories that he's the protagonist in. And there are children characters. There's a dog in summer, especially, which yeah, I mean, I love Diwali, I love Christmas, but I also absolutely love summer. There are a pair of there are two kids, there are grandparents, there's a tortoise, there's a parrot, there's Lucky the dog, and there is summer holidays. It's just lovely the way she's managed to tell these tales from the through the eyes of Lucky. And such enjoyable, charming stories featuring the two kids and the dog, and a lovely cast of characters, family members, and creatures great and small, that makes these lovely chapter books for 6+ year olds to read. We would say, like I said, I always hesitate to put age tags on the books, because you never know. There may be an 8-year-old who utterly and absolutely loves to read dog books and would thoroughly enjoy this one. There may be a precocious 5-year-old who wants to read them as well. But so glad that Nalini, who's also a dog mama like no other, who's written these marvelous Lucky stories, 3 of them: Lucky It's Summer, Lucky It's Diwali, and Lucky It's Not Just a Christmas Story. Great reads, priced at 150 rupees each, published by HarperCollins. And our next recommendation, of course, is this. Like I said, just wonderful writers, and we know them. We know, that many of them have dogs, and I think these words, they come out, like we shared with you Ramendra Kumar's books, the Lucky books by Nalini Sorensen, and the next one we're going to recommend. We know that they all have doggies, and boy, that love really sparkles on these pages. I'm just so delighted that Indian kids and all of us have these wonderful books full of paws and full of doggy love, thanks to these dog loving mamas. So the next one, that we are mamas and papas, of course, and the next one we want to recommend is by the wonderfully talented Natasha Sharma. And that she was a guest at our Buzzaar, a year ago possibly. And this book of hers, like one of the lovely whole books from Duckbill's whole series, is a laugh a minute story, as most of Natasha's books are. And I can see some comments coming up just right now on Nalini Sorensen's books. Auntie, the author Nalini Sorensen, came to our school and shared these books. I got this book from her at that time, and it was such a fun session. How very wonderful to hear that from you, Avyukt Nair. It was indeed, we really miss those times, Avyukt, when we could, come off with books and with writers and illustrators in the midst of kids at school. We're just hoping that we'll be able to do that from the new academic year in June. We're really looking forward to it, because there's just nothing more fun in life than being in the midst of kids with books. And he's absolutely right that Nalini Sorensen did many sessions in different schools in Bangalore. All of them had the kids going bow wow, woof woof, and on all fours, absolutely creating ruckus and pandemonium. Oh, what fun those sessions by Nalini were. Thank you for reminding me of that, Avyut. But to come back, to Natasha Sharma's lovely book, Bonkers, and, filled with her characteristic humor and wit. I mean, this one is just a laugh a minute book. Arman has a new dog, Bonkers. Boy, isn't that doggy so aptly named? Because Bonkers is just insane. He chews up Arman's glasses. Imagine that. I mean, I'm very sure if Muttama's doggies were here, many books, many, shoes, maybe glasses, and maybe all our sheets and paper would have been chewed up for sure. He eats up Arman's favorite shoe. He gets him into terrible trouble with the school bully. Gosh, bonkers is just absolutely bonkers. Do you think Arman's life will ever be the same again? Will Arman's life ever go back to normal? This book was the winner of the 2014 Crystal Kite Award, and rightfully so. It's just a laugh a minute. And you can just look at this, the lovely whole chapter books, so good to read. I mean, you can be way beyond the age group that they're meant for, but you're going to be chuckling as well reading these wonderful old books. I mean, they're typically recommended for 7+ year olds. And I'd say bonkers for all doggy lovers. Can see more friends joining us this morning. Joanne Saldana, how lovely to see you. Been a while. Yeah, we started off the bazaar by saying that COVID had us down at Funky Rainbow. The entire team came down one after the other, and it took us 10 days to get things back on track. And it's literally puppy love that brought us out and back to doing a bazaar. So lovely to see you. Bindya Parwani, what a pleasure. It's absolutely lovely to have old friends at new bazaars. So, like I said, Bonkers, a chapter book meant for 7+ year olds. Absolutely a laugh a minute book. You've got to find out, gosh, how does Arman not go bonkers with a bonkers in his life? What a lovely, charming, and enjoyable book this one is. Our next recommendation this morning is from the House of Karadi Tales. I can see Joanne saying, "Oh gosh, hope you're all better now. Was wondering what was happening last weekend. I know we did. We relaunched our Bazaar season with Geeta Ramanujam's book on the 29th. And then in the subsequent week, just one after the other, everybody came down. Gosh, but we're all behind. All of that's behind us, feeling stronger, feeling better, and feeling absolutely booked. So there was just no energy for anybody to even put out a post saying that, I'm sorry, we are just out of action for a bit, but we're back again. And I think we're going to be doing a lot more bazaars this season. To come back to the book that I was recommending from Karadi Tales, this excellent one from the City series. This one is called Looking for Laddu. Karadi has this wonderful series of books that are meant to introduce different Indian cities. I mean, they have one set in Mumbai called The Mountains of Mumbai. They have one in Delhi called Letters to Ammi. And this is the Madras or the Chennai book. Madras, though, is the way I'd like to always remember a city where we spent many years working. So as much as dog love, there's Madras love in the hearts of many of us in Team Funky Rainbow because of the number of years we spent either studying or working or growing up in that city. And in this one, while they are introducing you to the beauty of Madras, the charms of that city, they're also looking for something that's brown and spotted, a small and white puppy with brown spots who comes out running when you call out the name Laddu. Now, where is Laddu? I know Joanne's saying it'll always be Bombay and Madras to me. I can absolutely imagine. I mean, even if they keep renaming these cities, Bengaluru now for Bangalore and Mumbai and Chennai, just somehow the way you grew up, the way you called out to those cities, those cadences, just have, I mean, they are just the way most of us remember the city. And I can see Preeti Ramchandran saying, "Yay, come visit us, please." You don't even have to ask. There were, pre-COVID, I think we used to pretty much be in Madras every month. And I'm like, what's happened to the world just now? But you know what? A city and her favorite friends can never be separated. So we're going to be there. And this time round, I know we're going to have lots of new friends to meet up and catch up with in Madras. So while you're going around Madras with this wonderful book, you know what you're doing? You're also looking at the splendors of that city. Where could Laddu be? Is he in Besant Nagar, in the Theosophical Society campus? And when you read it and you've lived in that city and you know those places, you're like, oh, I lived so close to the Theosophical Society campus. I just love Adyar and Besant Nagar and the beach in Madras. I can see Nitya Nagarajan has joined us, and she says, "While I got this book for my son, reading it was so nostalgic for me. The pictures are so beautiful indeed, and thank you for reminding me that the illustrators. This is written by Aparna Karthikeyan and illustrated by Tanvi Parulkar." So you can see, they're looking for Laddu in the Theosophical Society or at Marina Beach. Where could Laddu have really gone? Karthik and his mother Shankari just weave in and out of this beautiful city to try and find their Laddu. And gosh, these pictures, we know, we've been here in these streets, the crowded Panagal Park streets, enjoying the splendors that Chennai, Madras has to offer. Gosh, what a lovely book. And and so much fun in reading to find out whether Karthik and his mother actually find Laddu. Do they? You'll have to read this wonderful book from Karadi's City series to find out. This one priced at 399 rupees. Again, we'd recommend it for 6+ year olds. And Preeti saying Chennai is a city, Madras is an emotion. It absolutely, absolutely is. Before I go on to the next clutch of recommendations, I should just say hello to a whole bunch of friends who've joined us on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube. I want to say, hang on, we're not too far away from a lovely bow wow of a story that Greystrokes going to narrate. A couple of more book recommendations, and we'll bring Greystroke on to really regale you with a woof woof and a bow wow of a story. Hi to Sharat Sangeeta, Urmila Vinod, Richa Pandey, Arushri, Divya Menon, Joanne Saldana, Nandini Nair, Prashu, Preeti Ramchandran, Payal Dhar, Agarwal Stuti, Rajiv D, Akhila Bharadwaj, Praveen, Kavita Amarnath, Arun G, Seema Nayak, Sharda Sampath Kumar, Muttama Devaya, who really is, like I've said several times, the best dog mama that I know. Missing you here today, and I know we'd be in fantastic four-footed company if you were here as well. Book Bee Shreyu, we love it when young people come and watch us at the Buzzaar. Bindya Parvani, the proud reader, Eureka Children's Books. What a pleasure to see you all at our Buzzaar this morning. Just a clutch of more recommendations, on lovely, lovely dog books. And like I said, we are recommending 10 books to you. There are probably 50 of them at least up in our Buzzaar. So do log in to www.funkyrainbow.com. Click on the tab that says Book Buzzaar, and there's going to be a drop-down menu which will say Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4. How I love the sound of that season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, but we are indeed in season 4 of the Buzzaar. Click on the tab that says season 4 and it'll take you to Puppy Love. So many books up there. Do check them out and show all our books and all the dogs in and around you in your life a lot of love, folks. We are going to recommend a lovely new book that came to us from Kalpavriksh. And what a lovely, lovely book it is. It's written by Sero and illustrated by Rajiv Ipe. We utterly, absolutely love his illustrations. This one is called Chitty, the story of a dog and her forest farm. Look at this lovely book. Look at these gorgeous illustrations. What is the story all about? It's about Chitty, who lives a free spirited life on a forest farm in the Western Ghats. Ah, how wonderfully charming that just sounds. I don't mind Chitty's life, to be hosting a bazaar from somewhere from a forest farm in the Western Ghats. And what happens? Chitty has all kinds of adventures with wild animals. She eats up termites. She eats jackfruit chips. She is wise, she is loyal, and she is an extraordinary little doggy in the Western, growing up in a forest farm in the Western Ghats. Really, the book takes you right through Chitty's adventures, happy adventures, meaningful adventures, soulful thoughts. And you really, I think you'll laugh with Chitty. You'll cry with Chitty. You'll think with Chitty. You will reflect upon the beauty of the world with Chitty. It's such a lovely book. Of course, it's Kalpavriksh, so there's always a strong environment focus in the books. But I really think Rajiv's glorious illustrations of Chitty make you marvel, make you marvel about her life, about her world, and make you really, get into the spirit, the dog spirit of things, really. It's a lovely book by Kalpavriksh, folks. We would recommend it to all 7+, 8+ year olds. Look at the illustrations. You can be sure that you're going to find out a lot about the Western Ghats as well while you're going on these adventures with Chitty. Fantastic book, priced at 150 rupees. We'd say 7, 8+. I mean, these age groups always, it's for you to pick it up. It's for you to read. And if you pick up a book that your child is not enjoying at the moment, just put it aside. There's going to be a right age there's going to be a right time when, she will come upon the book. So, we give these broad age classifications just so that people know, roughly what age groups they are meant for. Muttama saying that it's a heartbreakingly wonderful read, and that Chitty is just like her doggy, Tanny. How very wonderful that so many dog lovers here enjoying books and enjoying the company of their furry friends. Our next recommendation this morning is Aparna Karthikeyan again, who obviously just really loves dogs, but this one from Red Panda Westland. And I know many of you know that, Westland is going to shut down in the next couple of months. And this imprint, Red Panda, lots of books that they've brought out for children, hopefully will find new homes. But, we have almost all their books up at Funky Rainbow. In fact, we have all the Red Panda books available at Funky Rainbow. And we've just got to do what it takes to show our support for publishing, for children's publishing. It's really hard to get a children's imprint up and running. And when, big companies just decide to shut them down, it is really quite a tragedy. And I think the best way as readers, what we can do is to show our support by buying these books, by reading them, by keeping them alive, irrespective of whether those imprints are going to be bought over or those books are going to find new homes. And we really do wish every single one of the Red Panda books gets picked up by other publishers. So Aparna Karthikeyan's Woof, which is a part of the Red Panda series of books, is a wonderful adventure set by the sea in Bombay. It's just before the monsoon in Bombay, and Dawn and her gang, and you can see, that there are many dogs in the book. Dawn and her gang chance upon a mysterious little package on the beach. What is that mysterious package? Arun saying, I really enjoyed Woof. What's not to enjoy? There is the lovely pre monsoon Bombay, which she describes so well in the book. And I know for all of you who come from Bombay and who are real book lovers, I mean, and big Bombay lovers as well, and big Bombay lovers as well, you will just be reminded of the beauty of that city pre monsoon. So, what's in that little package? Well, what is it? It wriggles, it shakes, and out comes a little puppy. And what is this? Don, who's the dada of that gang of dogs by the sea in Bombay, they are, my God, what are we going to do with a troublesome new puppy in our gang? But really, what a circle of friendship that gets formed. What lovely adventures that happen in the city of Bombay. It's just such a lovely read, and it's clear Aparna Karthikeyan loves both dogs and Bombay very, very much. We would recommend this for 9+ year olds, and this one's priced by 250 rupees. Lots of copies up in our collection. Do pick it up, do support Red Panda, and in this, all the doggies who are going woof in this lovely book. Our next, how do we have time? Okay, we have just a couple of more recommendations, maybe two, three, before we show you the new arrivals and then get on to our story of the day. This is a book that absolutely, the one that I'm going to recommend next is a book, much like The Call of the Wild, which is a book that, like, I read when I was 9 or possibly 10, and that's just remained with me forever. Buck, I will never, never forget Buck at any point in my life, and that's how beautifully Jack London evokes Buck in The Call of the Wild. This one came to me much later when when we plunged headlong into the children's literature space, recommended by some friends. Kate DiCamillo's Because of Winn Dixie. It is, gosh, one of the most wonderful books I have ever read. And Kate DiCamillo writing with so much heart, so much soul about one girl, one dog, and one summer. Really, because of Winn Dixie, I'm not surprised. This is, in fact, what we holding in our hands at the moment is the 20th anniversary edition. This one has sold over 10 million copies worldwide. I mean, how can it not be a beloved book? And what is the story? I mean, for all you dog lovers, it doesn't matter what your age is, you've got to have Because of Winn Dixie, excuse me, in your collection. So what is this? It's on one summer day, 10-year-old India Opal Boloni goes down to the local supermarket to pick up some groceries. And you know what happens? She comes back home with a dog. And that dog is Winn Dixie. And Winn Dixie is no ordinary dog, because she teaches India, the protagonist of the book, so many life lessons, and to the reader, so many life lessons that make that really tell you why anybody who has a dog has a much better life, has a much more beautiful life, has a much more deeper and kind of engaged life. I just have to say that Because of Winn Dixie is a book that is to be loved, completely loved, because it brings alive the relationship between a girl and her dog and how that really transforms lives. Arun says, I really enjoyed reading this book. Grey Matters, Archana Natraj, absolutely love this book. What's not to love about because of Winn Dixie? I mean, I just think it has got to be on every bookshelf, whether you're a dog lover or not, because it's also a Newbery Honor book, because there are just such wonderful life lessons in this friendship between India Opal Bologna and Winn Dixie. This one we'd recommend and it's priced at 499 rupees. All the international books always available at wonderful discounts on Funky Rainbow. So do check it out on www.funkyrainbow.com. Next, quick set of recommendations. We could never do a bazaar on puppy love, on dogs, on paws, on lovely furry friends who share the planet with us, without Ranjit Lal's books. I mean, we've had the pleasure of interacting with him personally so many times across the decades. And Ranjit is a dog lover, a true dog lover, always having such wonderful dogs in his midst and always putting in fantastic dog characters in his book. I think people who experience that love, people who experience that friendship, just write about it so much more beautifully, so much more powerfully. And Ranjit Lal has got to be one of those writers who brings alive dog love in his books. And how? Two quick recommendations. I mean, there are several books of Ranjit's, but we have two lovely recommendations for you. Maybe little less known ones. There's this one called Bambi Chops and Wag, a madcap story of how three dogs trained a family. Absolutely a charming book published by Rowley about three dogs. And Ranjit's got such a lovely sense of humor, a boxer rebellion that's brewing in the house. And you know what that boxer rebellion is? Well, the boxer rebellion, put in motion by Bambi, Chops, and Wag. The three doggies, how do they train a family? It's such a lovely little book about these wonderful dogs and the family. And the united front that these families, these doggies put up when they are training their human family. It's so hilarious. We'd recommend this for 10 plus year olds, maybe 11 plus year olds. It is a fairly text heavy book, but absolutely a madcap story with three lovely dogs and a fabulous sense of humor introduced by Ranjit Lal. Arun saying that Bruce Cameron's books are also delightful. That's right. I think there's that one of the one in the rain, right? I mean, I forget the name of that book. I remember picking it up for a dog lover friend and reading it. And you're right. I mean, his books are extremely popular. Ramendra Kumar saying, I love our furry friends, but hate the word dog. It has been reduced to an abuse by Bollywood. Absolutely. Kutte tera khoon pee jaunga, tujhe kutte ki maut marwaunga. That's why I have coined a new name for our best buddy, grown up puppy or guppy. Absolutely a lovely way to say that. We wish you many guppies, and we too, we hope that in true cinematic style, guppy के साथ आपके लाइफ में बहुत सारे गप्पी हो और बहुत सारा पपी लव हो. Really, Ramendra Kumar, what a कुत्ते कमीने मेरा तेरा खून पी जाऊंगा, etc., to absolutely be avoided. And the lovely thing that I can say about all these books is that इसमें तो कोई किसी का खून नहीं पी रहा है. You're just going to enjoy some lovely dog stories. And Arun saying there are just such wonderful insights that are getting shared. The other Ranjit book that I really love, and it's possibly for slightly older readers, we'd say 11 plus or 12 plus, maybe 11 plus I think should be okay. Budgie Bridge and Big Gin. It's a story at its heart. It's about the environment. And if you don't look after the environment, if you destroy the environment, it's going to destroy you as well. But there's a formidable team that tells the story. There is 14-year-old Budgie, who's just outspoken to a fault. There is Bridge, another teenager, and Big Gin, who is a Tibetan German Mastiff. And my God, what a lovely! He's a German Mastiff. I mean, he's a Mastiff and a German Shepherd mix. And what a loyal and lovely friend he is to Budgie and Bridge. This is a great, great story, and it's got elements of bullying that comes into it. There's mean spirited kids, there's bird watching, there's there's a lot going on in the lives of these young people, and Ranjit so beautifully capturing the sense of what it when the chips are down, when things are like down and out, how the company of a friend, of a doggy, in this case a doggy like Big Gin, how it can make a difference, how it empowers you to be the change that you want to see. Such a lovely bringing in all of Ranjit Lal's concerns about the environment, about the creatures that we share this planet with, and about dog love. Really, it's such a lovely way to bring together, and of course, young people and their emotions. Such a beautiful way of bringing all this together in one book. Muttama is saying, watching you on YouTube, and Lincoln is whining, come home, he misses you. He's going to give us a whole bunch of sloppy kisses. We are absolutely just waiting. And we know that had you been here at the bazaar, those sloppy kisses would have been ours right here. But yes, going to take you up on that offer. Definitely a big hello to Lincoln and Tani who are watching. And we love it that there's adults and there are children and there are even lovely guppies to, as Ramendra Kumar calls them, watching us at our bazaar today. Archana saying, yes, it's 12 plus, a bit about crushes that makes some young readers not enjoy it so much. Valid point, but I think the crushes are getting younger and younger these days, which I enjoy very much in any case. But it's an absolutely fantastic read, as you say, Archana Natraj. And yes, Ranjit brings in these wonderful themes in his book that are suited for 11, 12 plus year olds. The last one that I'm going to recommend, and that was the first one that you recommended, Arunji. In fact, one of the reasons why we're doing this Puppy Love Bazaar, this book meant for just everybody, anybody that loves dogs. You reminded me, you're right. You said Racing in the Rain is by Garth Steen. That's right. That's the book I was referring to. I'm wondering which is the other one that you were talking about. You should give us the names of some of those books. 100% we'll pick them up and read them. That's right. Racing in the Rain is the one that I gifted a real dog-loving friend. I have to check. Please send us the names of the other dog books and we'll certainly try and bring them into our collection. Vijay is here this morning. Vijay Lakshmi Nagraj, good morning. How very lovely to see you. I just love this theme. My grandkids have two adorable dogs. I tell you, children, dogs, books, just the perfect combination ever. And yes, you're right in waiting for our favorite master storyteller to regale us with a bow wow and a woof woof of a story. My last recommendation this morning, this fantastic anthology that celebrates our furry friends, edited by Hemali Sodhi, with 45 original pieces, 45 original stories from some of India's leading writers, most outstanding writers, writing stories of the dogs in their lives. There are just so many fantastic contributors up here. There's Paru Anand, there's Rajdeep Sardesai, there's Jay Arjun Singh, there's Gillian Wright, there's Devdutt Patnaik, Bulbul Sharma, Aruna Vasana, Shobha De. So many people, Tishani Doshi, writing fantastic stories of dogs, of their furry best friends. And these are books, there are real life stories, there are stories that are fictional, there are poems. It's a book that's got to be with every single dog lover for sure. One memorable story after the other, 45 of them. And I mean, about dog parents, about people who've let dogs into their lives, of people who have lost dogs. The book has been edited clearly by somebody who's a huge dog parent and dog lover. That's Himali Sodhi, and takes you through so many emotions. So many emotions in that dogs bring into your life. It's a fantastic testament to how deeply dogs touch our lives and how much enriched we are to have them in our lives. It's I would recommend this for all adults, all of you who are watching, and you've got to make sure that you have this book. It's going to keep you entertained. It's going to keep you, like I said, maybe laughing, maybe crying, maybe wiping off a tear, because that's how many emotions this wonderful book of dog evokes in all its readers. I can see Sunila Kulkarni Gupte saying, "Good morning, Vidya and Team FR. So lovely to see you here this morning." And Arun's given us the name of the book. It's A Dog's Promise. And we're going to definitely, Bailey Books for Young Readers, definitely going to try and pick that one up and reading it. Thank you so much for promptly sending us the name. So these were some of the, recommendations. I can see Muttama saying Ananya Vajpayee, who has a lovely piece in this book, The Book of Dog, as well. Really a marvelous collection that should be in every home, whether you have a dog or not. These are the emotions, the finest emotions in life, all in one book, really. And the proceeds from the sale of this book, all the proceeds are going to various animal charities, welfare charities that Himali Sodhi has identified. Such a wonderful book. Please do consider picking it up from Funky Rainbow, www.funkyrainbow.com. With that, we will just quickly show you a couple of new arrivals on our shelves and invite one of our most favorite dog lovers and storytellers to, entertain us with a story. But first, the new arrivals. A bunch of lovely new books on our shelves. I mean, there are a lot more to show. We've stuck to 5 new arrivals, but we do have on our site a segment that says new arrivals. You can look at a whole bunch of them that have come to us. When we miss a bazaar, there's just so much to catch up on. And, so our site has been redesigned, and, it's just so easy to navigate at the moment. Right up on top are the new arrivals. Do take a look. Lots of lovely books up there. We did showcase 5 of the most exciting ones that had come in, but a lot more up there as well. Now, with that, we invite, like I said, our favorite dog lover. I mean, 2 wonderful dog loving partners at Funky Rainbow. And like I said, Muttama, who's not here today, you would have certainly visited with her lovely guppies, puppies, and doggies. But for the moment, going to invite Grace Stroke, wonderful storyteller, great dog lover, to regale all of you with a doggy tale like no other. Welcome, Grace Stroke. Yes, I do that. Yeah. There are more people.
Hello, I'm back. And this time I have a story for you. Now, before you get into the story, and we all know what it's going to be about, there's a little picture of a little puppy on the screen on the right hand side, and that's my Coco. And I would like to start off with a little story about how Coco came into our lives. Now, Coco, as you see here, she was probably a month and a half old or so. So one day, my wife, we were living in Chennai at the time, Madras. Sorry, not Chennai, Madras, and we used to live close to the beach in Palavakam. So one day, my wife went to the shop, and as she was coming back, she told me later, as I was at home, and she came back home one day, and after that trip, and she was excited, and she said, "There's this little puppy that followed me from the shop. I'm not sure if it belongs to anybody. It was in one of those streets. So shall we just go back and look at it and see if we can bring it home?" So I thought, I know it was a very unusual request because there were a lot of stray dogs around the place, as in most places around here. So I thought maybe there is something, and, it just struck me as something unusual. So I went back with her to the street, and we saw this little, you know, pup, a little fur ball looking at us from peeping at us from behind a scooter. And so I thought, okay, that's the one. So we asked around in the neighborhood if she belonged to somebody, and one of the people that we knocked on the doors actually just to ask, like, does that puppy belong to anyone? And one of the ladies said, no, it doesn't. It's just a stray dog. It's been wandering around for some time. So that day we decided that she's coming home with us. So we took her back home in a little shoebox, and she was like quivering, shivering. I mean, she was obviously frightened, but she kind of was comfortable in the shoebox. So we took her back home in the shoebox, and she became a part of our life. Like, she was our firstborn, and she was our daughter for the longest time. Vidya, can you just click on the next? I just want to see how from that little pup. Yeah, there's a right arrow. Remember, it's a left button. At the bottom. Sorry about that.
Okay, 1 second. Yes. Yes.
Yes, that's how she grew up to be. And I believe that she didn't know that she was a dog. So she would go out with us, as we walked on the road or near the beach. She just wouldn't bother about other dogs. And she was like, I don't even know what species you are, but I am with these guys. And that's how she used to behave. And my favorite memories of Coco, we lost her some years ago. Of My favorite memories are again these walks that we took on the beach or on the streets. And then once we came to Bengaluru, once we came to Bangalore, and I don't even remember how we transported her. She had the same problem that I had, and that is like, if I sit at the back of a car, that's like I puke in like exactly 40 minutes or lesser. So, and she used to do the same thing. So it was like that. We were bonded by whatever. So, and she used to do this, two, three things that were really, amazing as far as I was concerned. She used to, if I left water to boil on the stove, she would come and remind me that the water's boiling. And I very distinctly I knew that she had a vocabulary of probably 4 or 5 sounds which were very specific for certain things. Every time she wanted water, she used to come to me and she would do one, and that meant she wanted water. And when she wanted food, she would just say, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And when she wanted to go out, she would stand next to me, and she would do one, which means We had to go out at that time to go out. I have to go do my business outside, or have a walk, have some exercise, and come back. And that's how we spent our time. And one more thing I remember she used to do is, when I came back from work, which was just upstairs usually, she used to take off my socks. For some reason, she taught herself how to pull my socks off. So when I come back, she pulls my socks off, and then she makes off with it. And I don't know what she does with it after that, because, as you know, if there is a dog in the house and there are socks, matching socks are a bit difficult to find. But that was what life with Coco was. Can you show me the next picture, Vidya? Two more pictures are there. See, this is how this was taken on the day that she came to us. I think maybe the next day, and this is how she looked. Yeah, I think there's one more, and this is how she grew up to be this elegant person who did not know that she was a dog. Now, why did I tell you about Coco? Apart from Coco being part of my life and the life of my little son, when my little son was born, Coco instinctively, it brings out the best in a dog that I have seen. And she was like the big sister to Aaron, my little son. And when he used to sleep, she used to be under the bed. So, and keeping watch on anybody who comes into the room. Anybody she did not recognize, because there used to be visitors, who have come to see the baby. And she would tell me, that there is somebody, I don't know who that is, you better take care of it. And that's how it used to be. And between Aaron and Coco, they shared a bond which has been something I've not been able to replace for him, because Coco was unique. And on that note, what story I'm going to tell you is, that was of course the story, but is this one. A Dog Called Shu, written by Kavitya Punnimurthy and illustrated by Sarthak Sinha, published by Pratham Books. Now, why am I telling you this story? You'll see in a minute. Because this is probably what happened to Coco as well. But she was probably a little younger than Shu here. But the story is pretty much the same. So here we go with A Dog Called Shu. Shoo! Cried a man on a bike. Get out of my way! Shoo! Yelled a mother. Stray dog, beta, don't touch it! Shoo! Shouted the owner of the coffee shop. Don't scare my customers away! Arey! Shoo! Shoo! The little brown dog shrank into a dark corner. Everybody always said, Shoo! So she began to think that was her name. Now, Shu hadn't always been on the streets. She had once lived with a family, and there was a little boy in that family. And the boy threw terrible tantrums all the time. Show me a trick, show me a trick, show me a trick. And Shu was like, okay. And bring me that stick, bring me that stick. Up on your legs, like this, like this, like this. I don't know if you have seen boys like that. I have. And they're not fun. But Shu didn't know how to perform any of these tricks. She was scared, at this little monster at home who was like, hey, do this, do that. Pick that up. Hey, pick that ball. She didn't know what to do. And she would just be scared. But soon, the boy got bored with Shu. It was time for a new toy. As you can imagine, Shu was nothing more than a toy for the little boy. So one day, the father bundled Shu into the car, and drove away to the bus stand. Once they reached the bus stand, they dropped her there and drove away. Shu waited and waited, but he never came back. The dirt of the streets stuck to Shu's fur. Slowly, Shu learned to dig for food in the bins. First, it was hot and sticky. Then, it was wet and chilly. The rains, the winter, cold and hungry. Shu lay by the rubbish heap because that's where probably she would get something to eat. One day, she spotted Adit walking down the street. He came closer and looked at Shu. He pulled out a lunchbox from his school bag. There was still some idlis left. Idlis. So he sat down where Shu was and shared his idlis with Shu. Every day after that, Adit would share his lunch with Shu. In the beginning, Shu was a bit shy. She would wait for Adit to leave before she gobbled up her food. But soon, she began to jump up with a little yelp when she heard Adit's footsteps. So there began the friendship between Adit and Shu, the street dog. So one day, as Adit returned to go home after feeding Shu, Shu followed him. And every time Adit looked back, Shu would hide behind a pushcart, sometimes behind a tree, or behind a scooter. Adit stuck his hands in his pocket and whistled as he walked. And he knew Shu was behind him. And when Adit reached home, he said, Papa, look, we have a guest. Can she stay with us? Can she stay with us? Please. And that's how Shu joined Adit's household. Shu followed Adit everywhere. She sat outside the bathroom while Adit sang in the shower. Ooh, la, 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 shh. And when Adit went to school, she lay at the front door waiting. Just like, that picture that you saw of Coco. And she used to lay at the front door waiting for Adit to come back. Shu worried. What if Adit went away? This happened before. What if he never returned? A year flew by. Shu and Adit became best friends. Shu understood that if Adit ever went out, he would always come back. And now Shu has a new name. Toffee. Toffee! Give me back my book! Toffee! So that's how Shu became Toffee. And you can see why it connects with me, because this is exactly how Coco came into my life and our family. So with that, and with that tribute to our little furry friends, our guppies, I take leave. I hope you enjoyed the story. Thank you.
And that is exactly how a dog called Shu became a dog called Toffee. I just love that part, by the way, Sham, a grey stroke about Coco taking off your socks. What fun! I mean, even if you didn't find your socks afterwards, I think it was just utterly lovely the way Coco took off, your socks for you doing all your dirty laundry. And I'm sure knowing her, promptly put it up into your washing machine. But that was just a lovely story by Kavita Punyamurthy and illustrated by Sarthak Sinha, the lovely story of a dog called Shu. I can see many people saying lovely and gorgeous and fantastic narration. Many thanks, says Archana Natraj. And before, and I know right at the beginning of Greystroke story narration, Kengeri, where are you? I could see Joanne Saldana asking for Kengeri, never far away from Funky Rainbow, Joanne Saldana. And before this pesky relative of Funky Rainbows makes an appearance, I would just like to say hello to so many other friends who've joined us, both on Instagram and on Facebook, and in fact on YouTube as well. Nitya Nagarajan, Arundhati Raja, Grey Matters, Safia, Ramendra Kumar, Meera Bharti, Sujita Krishnamurthy, how lovely you're watching from school, Vijay Lakshmi Nagaraj, Sunila Kulkarni Gupte, Saraha, Pooja Agarwal, Anjani Rajagopal, Twist the Tales, and Book B Shreyu. Thank you to all of you for joining us and making this bazaar a big, fun affair. So, just checking to see if Kengeri is in here and back, because Kengeri and some Gyan are never apart. And Kengeri, who makes his way every time we have a bazaar. In fact, every time that we don't have a bazaar as well, to check out our books, to ask us some questions, is going to join you with his quiz with Kengeri. Banni sir, Vanakam Kengeri. Did the panchayat relieve you so quickly?
Namaskara. I am the Kengiri Hanumanta, retired from the Panchayat. Now earlier I was jobless. Now I am fully jobless. From 9 to 5, I was jobless. Now I am totally jobless. But I am here as usual to ask you a few questions. That is why it is called the quiz and all. Then I ask you because we are doing the book Buzzaar about the dogs. All the questions today are of the dogs. But it is very intelligent questions. So you have to think, okay? And you have to answer. I asked the 3 questions. So, and you have to answer in the 30 seconds. The editor is at the computer. So you will get more than 30 seconds. Because she is always editing. And she doesn't know when to stop only. So once question number 1, please get ready. You may not win prizes at Funky Rainbow, but you may win the surprises. That is how in Funky Rainbow we are doing. Okay. The first question I ask. I give you a clue also. Then, what is group a dogs are belongs to? It is. I give you a good, excellent clue. It is combination of the alphabet and the number. Now your things, no? What is Kangaroo asking these intelligent questions like this? Because it is very easy. Like, what is group dogs are belong to? Gray matters is answer the question. Very correct. K9. See, alphabet I say no. K. And what is the number? 9. so, so K9s no. So K9 is correct answer. One big surprise for the gray matters. Miss, please make a note. Don't tell me it doesn't matter. Gray matter. So that is the first question. Very easy, no? Then I ask you the next very evolution questions with the scientifics and all that. So we are having the forefathers, like the human beings. So we are having the not forefathers, foremothers, forefather, not like that. Forefathers. How you say in forefathers? In what is another word? Ancestors. Ancestors. Okay, so which animals are ancestors of the dogs? Like they say human beings, we are comes from the monkeys. Some people have not changed even now. Some people are still monkeys. Yes, yes, Joanne is giving the right answer. Right answer, she is saying we are coming from the wolves.
We know dogs.
Wolves. So wolves are then are becoming the dogs. So then the dogs are becoming the dogs. Then we are taking the dogs and keeping homes, domestication and like that and all. So like that. So very good question I asked Joanne Saldana. Please note the point, Your Honor. Yes, yes. Yes, librarians. Oh yeah, she is the librarians. That is why she knows. She's reading too much. I caught the right answer. This Eritrama is very shrewd. She's like, who is asking? Who is answer the questions? She looks like that, and she's like, she's saying Joanne is a librarian, so she will know every answer. Then I ask you very simple question for other people's also to answer. Okay. Then my question is, what is name of the first dog in space? Huh? We are going to space, not spaced out dog. Spaced out dogs are always around us. But I am saying first dog that went to space. Space is above the earth. Like the between the earth and the moon is space. Like that. Well, too much pressure and all she is saying. What is pressure? This is easy questions. What is this? What is this Latika? No Latika and all. What is this? What you're taking people's names like that? And answer is Laika, eh? Laika. This librarian. Oh, Divya Menon. I think it is the Avyuk coming again. First two. Yes. The correct answer is the Laika. She was first Russian dog to going to space. So like that. Okay. Please note the point. Is prize winner is the Avyuk Nair. Very well done. Many answers are coming up. Oh, like that. Okay, now I shall leave you with one simple fact of very surprise.
Wait, 1 second.
Yes.
I am
Avyukt here.
got the correct
Yes, I am Kengeri here. Namaskara, Avyukt. You are winning the right answer. Very good. Very good. Now, one little fact I will tell you. Dogs are having the how many eyelids? You know, eyelids. Not like not pot lid like that. Eyelid, not eyelid. Eyelid. Sometimes very confused. No, these are all scientific terms and all like that. In Kangari, we don't have eyelids. We are keep our eyes open all the times because we're the alerts people. Dogs have three eyelids. So, did you know? Did you know? Did you know? Three eyelids. And on that notes, I shall give the dayas back to the editor Ma to continue the book Buzzaar or to conclude. Not continue. She will continue next week. Then now she will conclude this book Buzzaar. Okay, namaskara. I will see you again next week with more. I have to ask more questions. So I will see you again. Namaskara. Namaskara.
And that was our distant relative Kengeri regaling you with a quiz with Kengeri. I don't know how Bharti and Netra, suffer Kengeri coming and riffing through all our books. I'm afraid they have no choice, though. Kengeri getting all the information right from the books in and around Funky Rainbow. So that's what it's going to be. Today, a slightly shorter bazaar because energy levels are slightly lower, but lots and lots of dog books for you to take a look at today. But before I go, I do want to, Muttama promptly reminding me to tell all of you about our Love a Library campaign. It's a campaign that Funky Rainbow launched on the 1st of December, and that is on till the 28th of February, where we've identified 4 libraries from across the country, each one of them reaching out to us during the pandemic years, and writing to us saying that they would like our curated books in their libraries. These are libraries in remote areas. There is the 4 libraries that we're supporting are from Spiti, from Cuddalore, from Ribhoy, and Tonk. Spiti in Himachal Pradesh, Cuddalore in Tamil Nadu, Tonk in Rajasthan, and Ribhoy in Meghalaya. And these libraries for underserved children in these very remote areas could well do with a lovely curated collection of books. And it's been wonderful that since the 1st of December, so many of you have come forward and supported this campaign. The aim was to raise 2.5 lakhs, and Muttama, even as of yesterday, was saying that we are only 45,000 rupees short of that target. So a big shout out to all of you, so many of you who are watching us, who have contributed wholeheartedly to this campaign to reach wonderful books to these 4 remote libraries. There's just 45,000 rupees to go. Please do consider contributing, because then, each of the librarian from Spiti, Ruchi Dhona, visited us at Funky Rainbow and picked out the books that she thinks that the children and adults in the libraries at Spiti would like to use. Similarly, Banupriya Jagadisan, from Cuddalore, she too has sent us a wish list of books that she thinks the children would absolutely benefit from. Amir Abidi, from Rajasthan, too came in and picked up his choice of books. Now, just 45,000 rupees to go. If you can come forward and show this campaign some of your love, we would be so happy if we met that target. And the money will be equally divided, and books worth the total amount that we've raised will be sent to each of these libraries. Like I said, Sham, do you have the video? Can we play it? Yes. just showing you the video again before I say thank you and bye bye. And that was the video on our Love a Library campaign. I mean, there are many of you who are watching who have already contributed. If you would like to contribute, do connect with us on WhatsApp, on 99004 We will send you the link to donate. No, amount is too small when it comes to reaching the right books to these libraries in distant spaces. Like I said, Spiti, let's open a book at Spiti, Reading Space in Cuddalore, the Tarakki Foundation in Rajasthan, and the libraries at the childcare institutions in Ribhoi, Meghalaya. Do come forward, and I would like to send out a special thank you to two very young and special friends, Avyukt and Ameya Nair, who put up a stall in their gated community and sold, I think it was lemonade and cookies and baked products to raise money for our Love a Library campaign. It's so wonderful when children do this and sent us a lovely contribution. Your wonderful work will reach children in different parts of the country. How wonderful, Avyukt and Ameya Nair, for to have come forward and raised the funds for us through your work. More power to children like you who absolutely have their hearts in the right place. Thank you so much. And for those of you who would like to contribute, like Muttama has promptly reminded us, that there's just 45,000 rupees to go, which we would like to raise by the 28th of February. So all these libraries get a wonderful curated collection of books. We'll see you next week with another Buzzaar. Like I said, it's Valentine's Day that's coming up. We hope your day and your week is full of love. But this time, we hope it's full of puppy love. We'll see you next week with another Buzzaar and, with a lot more fun lined up for you. See you and bye-bye.